Oh, I won't back down. Oh, I can't back down. You could stand me up at the gates of hell, or maybe the Degrassi black hole. I know I have many weird opinions, but I know it's right to tell you why I can think of 10 things that I can't let go, and I won't back down. It's the age old question within Degrassi. Are you protecting yourself? Are you protecting other people for yourself? Or are you protecting other people for the fact that you're purely worried about them? Such was the case with Maya in season 12, as she had to deal with one of the worst tragedies that's hit Degrassi ever, the suicide of Cam Saunders. The fact of the matter is that Maya's behavior post Cam was huge and all that. She had to deal with a jealous boyfriend within a love triangle. She had to deal with PTSD potentially. She had to deal with nightmares about Cam despite dating Miles, and she had to deal with trying to help Miles out, thinking that Miles could be just like Cam, and also with the fact that her family didn't really help her all too much. I mean, yeah, they got her therapy and all that, but it took a while. It took a police officer and Maya's mom for Maya to realize she can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. Maya may have been trying to help someone for her own evil stuff, but it's the way Degrassi weaves its story about the whole Maya storyline and how they kind of made it as a mea culpa to not dealing with someone else's major storyline with PTSD. So follow me on this because this is going to be fan freaking tastic. So Maya was brought in as a cello virtuoso and Katie's sister. Of course, a lot of people have their hatred about Katie and her situation, such as taking her mom's medication to help her deal with knee problems while she was trying out for the Canadian national junior soccer team. Katie, of course, going to Vegas to Drew's supposed wedding with Bianca and blowing all her scholarship money and then having to sleep with someone to get the money back, potentially. But Maya, in a sense, had a few decent lines and all that. But then season 12 pops up. So season 12 happens, and Snake decides to have a change of the dress code. The dress code is now off limits. However, he does want them to wear certain colors for their grades and all that, like whatever grade it is and all that. And a few things were pushed back because, after all, I mean, the school did behave itself at the end of Vegas night. So then he introduces some new students who are going to be part of the Toronto Ice Hounds, a new hockey team. And no, it wasn't a Degrassi hockey team. It was a major junior team. Now, of course, there's a lot of Americans who are going to be watching this episode. And in America, the whole hockey system is a lot different than Canada. The Canadian system is that once you hit 16, 17 years old, you're eligible to play in the major juniors. In Canada, we have three. We have the OHL, the WHL, and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. And they have teams from almost every province in Canada. There are some American teams still, too. The Western Hockey League has 3 teams in Washington State. Quebec used to have some teams in the U.S., but they failed. And in Ontario, we have Erie and Flint and Saginaw. So, yeah, it can be all that. But the simple fact is that there's major junior teams and they play, and it's basically one step towards the NHL and being drafted into hockey. I mean, Americans got college hockey too, which is big, and some Canadians follow college hockey a lot. So, of course, as you see on one of the banners behind me, Rangers Nation is Kitchener Rangers. As the fact that Kitchener does have a major junior team and has had some great NHLers come for the system. Al McInnes, Scott Stevens, Brian Bellows, Larry Robinson, Derek Roy, Gabriel Landeskog, Steve Mason, Dominic Kubalik. The list goes on and on and on. But the fact is that, the major juniors, they board with families because, you're homesick and all that. And these families help you out with life lessons and to get you to the rink for your games and all that. So the Toronto Icehounds are in play, and we see some interesting characters. We see Luke Baker, who moved from Florida to come up to play major junior, which is like weird that Florida doesn't really have much of hockey, even though they have two NHL teams, Tampa and the Panthers. But the simple fact is that, you see Luke, Mike Dallas comes all the way from Guelph, near my neck of the woods, and is all that, a black hockey player, fantastic, and a few other players, and Campbell Saunders, who is this prospect from Northern Ontario, Capus Casing, as you call it. I can't remember how it's spelled. It's Kapukising, probably wrong, but he's 10 hours away from Toronto and all that. By comparison, Kitchener's an hour and a bit away from Toronto. But the simple fact is that, they came in and Maya falls in love with Cam, and Cam has puppy dog affection for Maya, liking Maya's interest and all that. Unfortunately, it does affect his hockey stuff, and Dallas, as captain, tells Cam not to have these feelings. What happens is that, Cam and Maya are together, but the fact is that Sig comes out of friggin' nowhere and is jealous. Sig and Maya are kind of an item. Sig likes Maya, but the simple fact is that, Sig's not too happy with Cam being with Maya. During Spirit Week, when Sig and Cam are on different sides, Sig gets in Cam's head and makes Cam snap at Sig and beats up on Sig. Cam is sent to the principal's office, and Maya is there too. Cam says that Maya knows what happened and said that Sig set me off. Sig did it, everything. And Maya, for some strange reason, decides to say, I don't know what got into Cam and snapped and all that, even though she knows that Sig did this. Unfortunately, Simpson doesn't buy Cam's story, suspends him for a week, and, there's a lot of problems. A lot of people have said, why was Maya not protecting Cam in the situation? Mostly because she was probably scared of what Sig would do to her if everything gets found out. But I mean, why the hell would be scared of Sig and all that? Sig's the troublemaker. Sig's the one who should be in trouble. Sig's one in freaking gang. I guess Maya was scared of what Sig could do. So anyway, Cam wants to talk to Maya, and they do talk, and Cam apologizes for everything. And Maya has him stay the night because Cam has nowhere to go. So Cam leaves without Maya's knowledge and takes her stuffed doll Hoot with him. So Cam decides to bring Hoot to Maya in front of the school. Unfortunately, Sig comes popping by, and Sig basically says, if you really care about Maya, you stay out of her life forever. And Cam agrees and offs himself. Now, of course, Sig didn't know about Cam's suffering. Cam was 10 hours away. He was homesick. Like, dude, you're homesick. And then his parents tried to call and all that. Maya was trying to help him deal with the situation. I understand. And his performance on the ice. Cam didn't want to play hockey. I think Cam wanted to stay away from the pressure, so he decides to jump off the balcony and then slash his wrist with it. Slash himself with his skates to try to make sure he doesn't play hockey so that he's closer to Maya. Part 6 jealousy was huge too, and all that. Of course, Cam decides to break up with Maya over text, and then we don't know what happens to Cam. Meanwhile, Eli and Claire decide we're going to have a picnic. Fun. And then they're by the JT York greenhouse, and then as Eli walks towards the greenhouse, he sees something awkward. He drops his stuff, and Claire says, Eli, okay, call help. Call help. Don't look. Don't look. And we find out that Cam died in the GT York Memorial Greenhouse. Maya seemed to be indifferent when she was told about this news, saying that I need to practice my cello thing. And everyone's shocked. Everyone's more shocked about Maya's lack of grieving at the vigil for Cam, saying that Cam killed himself. He was selfish for killing himself. I would have helped him. And all that. And it's just understandable for someone to do that. Like, he killed himself instead of getting the help he wanted. I agree that Maya had the right to get a little nervous. But everyone thought that Maya was just emotionless. Sig actually does the right thing and tells Maya that he may have helped Cam die, but Maya laughs that off. And a lot of people say that Sig set Cam off. But given how Cam had all these problems, issues ahead of time, and we don't know if Cam actually went to like the school therapist or therapy at all, is that, it was just the last thing, the cherry on the sundae. I know Sig would have definitely said something because he was jealous of Cam and Maya. That triangle. Sig's a jealous prick and a POS. Well, Sig beat himself up over it. At least Sig did the right thing by telling Maya the stuff, but Maya laughs him off. Maya starts to become promiscuous and all that. Her mom and Katie confront her, and then she makes that rant about Cam killing himself by texting me and all that. He broke up with me over text and he killed himself. How am I supposed to react? And I'll never be happy again. My God, Maya. You can get past this. That's what pisses me off. But the simple fact of the Maya situation is that, well, what about Cam? Do you think that Cam did the right thing by bottling it in? Definitely not. Bottling it in was hard. If he went to therapy and all that, that's different. And a lot of people probably will ask, what about Snake? Did he mishandle Cam's situation? Technically, yes and no. I mean, yeah, he should have pressed Cam for things. But no, Cam wasn't straightforward with him. So Simpson didn't have any clue. Like, Simpson had no clue what happened. I think Simpson probably wanted Cam to go see the therapist during his 5-day suspension. And I mean, Simpson had it right. If Simpson did that, then yeah, it's understandable. I think Simpson, in a sense, was probably kicking himself for not knowing about Cam's situation. I mean, is Simpson to blame? No. Like, Simpson deserves not a lot of blame, but like a partial bit of blame. He gets about 10% of the blame, whereas Radich, for the whole Rick situation, I put him at 20% of the blame. A lot of the blame happens with the students, Jay and Spinner, and the bully crew. But yeah. But of course, Maya seems to be okay. And then Maya, by season 13 and 14, was after Miles. Why? I don't know. But anyway, season 13 was weird with Maya and Zoe and Miles and the love triangle and all that. So Zoe was right. Maya did technically steal Miles from her. But I think Maya was trying to find somebody in lieu of losing Cam and all that. She went after Harry. She was happy Harry kissed her. And she's basically like, I got a boy. I don't need to go after Zoe for what she did to me and all that. Despite the fact that Simpson said that we will get the police involved. And Maya's mom wanted to help too. But too little too late. Maya's mom should have been there for Maya at the start. Maybe then Maya would have went nuts going after Zoe. But then season 14 rolls around, and Miles is exhibiting weird behavior. I mean, his father's hard on him. He doesn't know what to do with his love life. He might be with Tristan, he might be with Maya and all that. Tristan, of course, is jealous that Maya and Miles are together. And wants Miles to pick boys or girls. You could be bisexual. I think Miles was. But anyway, Miles and Maya. But Miles exhibits some strange things. And only to the audience, we know that Maya starts having nightmares about Miles jumping off the balcony or slashing himself, akin to Cam's problems. So the simple fact is that, Maya's suffering through PTSD about the Cam situation, even though that she was supposed to be over it, in a sense, like supposedly over it. But no, she wasn't. She exhibited weird behaviors, especially with Miles, like trying to see what Miles was up to at all times of the day. Miles finally ghosts her on social media. Maya, after reading a post about Miles saying, God, kill me, I'm sick, all that, she's worried about that word terminology. Sig and Zoe try to talk to Maya about some kind of song, but Maya says, no, 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 I can't have this happen again. And Maya has a panic attack. She's like, I can't have another boyfriend kill himself again. And that's natural. I mean, Maya's worried that this will happen to her the second time. And then basically Maya overreacts with Miles accidentally driving under the influence of weed and crashing into a car which had Dallas's girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend, I guess, Vanessa, and the mother, well, the mother of his child, Rocky. They could have got hurt. Maya decides to protect Miles, but then Miles decides, I've got to come clean, and Maya is caught for perjury. Thankfully, Hollingsworth decides to get both of them out of trouble, and Maya's happy. But Maya's mom is upset. And Maya says, I had to do it. He was going to kill himself. And then she goes, the mom goes, it's okay to be concerned about boy, but don't ruin your life about it. And then the police officer basically said, you can't help someone who can't help themselves. Maya talks to Miles and says, you got to get the help. I can't help you all the time. And then Firestarter happens when Miles has an issue with his father and then burns a campaign poster of his dad, accidentally setting fire and causing the school to go in panic mode. However, Miles gets his revenge on his dad and tells Maya, check up on me every so often. Maya smiles and says, no, you're good. And then we basically figure this out. And then we figure, okay, Maya's just over the situation. But then next class, season 2 pops up. There's a bus crash. Maya's involved in it because she was one of the boosters that was going to the Northern Tech Degrassi match. And then, of course, the bus crashes. And Tristan's in a coma. Maya feels like she's partially responsible. So she goes dark and decides to kill herself, despite chances not to. So she decides to go on a school bus, an abandoned school bus, and take pills and put music on and put her to sleep permanently. Doesn't work, so she says something's wrong. It's about 30 minutes. The pills are not really kicking in, but then the pills finally kick in once Maya was on the roof of the school. Fortunately, though, Esme and Sig were kissing and all that, and then they find out, oh my God, Maya's convulsing. Sig says, we need to make her throw up, and Esme said, no, she could choke on her vomit. My mom killed herself in front of me. I know what to do. Fortunately, Maya's in the hospital. She's fine. She's recovering. And then, of course, was the controversy about the Tristan's line, let's go for pizza, and then they leave Maya. And it was like, what the heck? Maya spends the last season of next class trying to fix herself, blaming herself for Sig's problems with Esme, and almost doesn't go to graduation, but Grace decides to help Maya out, and it works out like a charm. That whole storyline was huge. And the big storyline I have is a lot of things. There's a lot of things to pick in. Maya had the right to get concerned and act out the way she did in season 14. I mean, dude, she almost had her boyfriend die again. Like, honestly. So there's a lot to wrap with this, and my opinions. There's 3 major things to this opinion. Sorry it took so long to do it, but I have to give you context. Number 1 is about Maya's behavior in season 14. Was it justified? Yes. Number 2 is the whole situation with Sig being a jealous boyfriend, as it seemed, and how, this wasn't the first or last time that Sig had a jealous streak towards Maya. And number 3, and what is an unusual one, is the Degrassi writers, with the whole Maya situation, was a whole mea culpa for something that they failed to do elsewise. All right. So first and foremost is Maya in season 14. Let's get this. Actually, no. Let's get the Sig situation out of the way first, because it'll be the shorter of the 3. So Sig acting like a jealous boyfriend. And people say, well, Sig was a jealous person. He wanted Maya. He was possessive of Maya, even though Maya wanted to be with Cam. And this wasn't the last time Sig did all that. It seemed that every time Maya had a love interest, including Miles and Harry, Sig was jealous. But Sig would go with Zoe and Esme, maybe as a way to get under Maya's nose. because he was jealous that Maya was with a boy and wanted to ruin Maya's friendship with a boy so that he could sneak in. But you know, didn't really work out. Although Maya did have attraction to Sig as well, and some say Maya was a bad girlfriend, excuse me, to Sig. But I'm saying no, that's not right. The fact of the matter is, I did a seed duel about this a long time ago, like 3+ years ago, when I started Cutter Degrassi on Popular Opinions. It wasn't the first one; it was like the 8th one. And I said that I compared Sig to Veronica from the Archie comics. Now I have to say Archie comics because everyone knows Riverdale happened, and they've changed the Archie narrative. But the comics, it seems that Veronica is jealous of Betty being with Archie. When you look at Veronica's personality towards Archie, it's like Veronica pines for Archie. And yes, Archie does go with Veronica at times. But in a 2011, was it 2010 comic book story, Dilton, the resident genius, basically tells Betty that Veronica possesses Archie because someone else wants Archie. And Dilton figures that if Betty shows no interest in Archie, then Veronica would probably get bored with Archie and doesn't want to go after the chase. So Betty decides to dump off Archie and asks Veronica to date Archie, but Veronica backs off the chance. Veronica doesn't talk to Archie much, and then Betty swoops in and takes Archie in. And so Betty and Archie decide to go to events that Veronica won't dare go to. Unfortunately, though, that backfires when Veronica accidentally injures Midge and works at the amusement park. Betty tries to hide from Veronica and all that, but then finds out and then yells out, "Fine, I don't care if Veronica wants Archie. You can have him." And then Veronica says, "Oh, that's a big statement." She was working funnel cake. Betty douses herself with funnel cake, and Veronica says, "Some people are just not meant to be sneaky." Meaning, I bet Veronica kind of figured that Betty was just trying to get Veronica off the scent of Archie, but Betty's conscience probably got the better of her. I mean, Archie's just as bad. Like, he should be picking one of them. But, I mean, Betty and Veronica work together to try to get Archie to choose one of them. When Archie shows an interest in, like, Cheryl or Valerie from the Pussycats, Josie and the Pussycats, then they team up to try to ruin Archie's relationships with them for their own greed and all that. Archie can pick a third option. There is a third option, but that's kind of awkward. That they're forcing Archie to pick either Betty or Veronica. And I would pick Betty because Veronica, to me, treats Archie terribly. Her parents don't like him, especially Mr. Lodge. I mean, Betty's parents do kind of like Archie, not a whole lot, but they do care for Archie and all that. And Betty does too. Betty throws herself at Archie, and Archie just doesn't seem to do that. But anyway, it seems that Sig is like Veronica. And, she wants the Archie, which is Maya. So Sig wants Maya and is jealous when Maya has attraction from other guys. So he tries to ruin it so he can be with Maya. Now, that's something I won't back down from. I think Sig's behavior is just classic boyfriend jealousy and all that. And it seems that Sig and Maya don't work well when they're together. Although they do go to California at the end of Degrassi's run. Okay, so let's talk about the whole season 14 thing. And was Maya justified? I think so. Maya had to be justified for the whole thing. This isn't an unpopular opinion as much as I'm just saying that Maya had the right to get concerned in season 14. I mean, Miles was exhibiting weird behaviors and all that, and it reminded her of the camp situation. Never mind that Maya seemed to have nightmares almost every day since Cam died. That, she had pushed everything in Cam's mind. Maya was kicking herself for not helping Cam. I bet Dawson Donuts Maya was really ticked off that she should have helped Cam in the whole situation with Simpson, and then said that Sig set Cam off and all of that. But she was scared of what Sig would do to her. If Sig did something to Maya, I bet you Dawson Donuts Simpson would have expelled the shit out of Sig. Just saying. But when you look at things, it's that Maya had a right to be concerned about her friends. And people just thought that Maya was just being overprotective and all that. And, butting into people's business and all that. Like a certain Degrassi character from the early days. But unlike that character, Maya had the right of way. Maya had to be concerned. I mean, Miles was showing weird things, and it just triggered something in her that she needs to help her. And was Maya with Miles in season 13 and 14 just to alleviate her guilt with Cam? I think so. And it's a natural reaction. Like, I think that Maya had the right of way. I mean, Maya had a right to be concerned. And Maya, yeah, okay, she goes after Miles and helps Miles and maybe gets her problems with Cam alleviated. She's suffering from PTSD. She's suffering heavily. She does ask her mom to get her a therapist and all that, but, she never mentions Cam by name. Now you'd be thinking, now in my mind, it's like, do you think that Maya should be saying Cam by name? Yes. I mean, as bad as it is to mention Cam by name, it would have helped people. It would have gotten Maya more sympathy. I think in my mind, if she talked about Cam and all that, then people like Sig, Zoe, and her mom, for that matter, would have understood and basically talked to her about her feelings about the Cam situation. She would. I think Cam would have. I think the Cam situation would have been much better if she said Cam by name. I know you don't. She didn't want to say it because it was going to bring back bad memories. But the fact is that she could have said Cam and it was okay. It wasn't like it was like, oh fuck, you shouldn't say Cam's name. You can and you will and you shall. It doesn't matter. So anyway, Cam does all this. So yeah, and Maya had a right to be concerned about Miles and all that because it was reminiscent of Cam. She didn't want her second boyfriend to die and all that. Overprotective or not, she did kind of smile when she got Miles, when she learned that Miles got revenge on his dad, and then she smiles because now she helped Miles out, and Miles will not kill himself, and Miles will be fine, and then her work is done, and then the guilt over Cam will be alleviated. But then the bus crash happened, and everything reset for her. Feelings of suicide, wanting to be with Cam, not saying Cam by name, although that also would have helped. Because, and just hiding everything from her family. She did well to hide everything from everyone. However, when Sig got a note that Maya wanted Tristan to give to Sig, or someone to give to Sig, he knows something's fishy. And fortunately, though, Sig and Esme find Maya on the roof and help her out. Of course, Esme kind of in season 4 lives to regret it as she finds out that Sig's growing closer to Maya and people are talking to Maya. I think Esme did it for her own selfish reasons too, because she's like, I saved Maya, now I'm going to get praised. Nope, we're going to talk to Maya. You bitch, and wants to ruin Maya's life. But Esme should thank Maya because Maya said that, Esme needs help and gets Esme the help. Because I think in a way that Maya did it because Esme saved her life in a sense and wanted to pay Esme back. And of course, number 3 on this thing, and I know I've wasted 25 minutes, but number 3 on my night is the Degrassi writers, I think, did this Maya storyline to make up for the lack of a PTSD storyline with one of their main characters. The character I said that, Maya had a right to butt into people's business because of the whole Cam situation, whereas the other character butted into people's business but should not have done so, and it's hated because of it, rightfully so. You know who I'm talking about. Degrassi fans know who I'm talking about. It's Emma. So Emma had a tendency to butt into people's affairs. She butted into Manny's affairs a lot. She butted into Liberty's affairs a few times. She butted into Snake and Spike's affairs, not just before they were getting married, but after that. I mean, there were some times that Emma butting in actually works out, especially with the whole Shane situation. As much as she gets crapped upon with the Shane situation, Emma had a right to know about her dad, and Spike should have said something. All Spike basically had to say that he's in a hospital, he's in a house for mentally deficient adults. Emma probably would never have given a crap about him, possibly, and all that. But Emma just had to push the envelope. I mean, Snake did the right thing by telling Emma the whole story about Shane so that Emma could understand the situation at hand. Spike didn't, but Snake proved how good he was and calmed Emma down in a sense. So, of course, Emma butting into people's business was terrible and all that. I mean, she wanted to help Manny save herself, save herself. Um, she wanted to save Manny from herself. Kind of an awkward move and all that. It's justifiable sometimes, but it's Manny's life. If she ruins it, then why would Emma be upset over everything? You know, that just sucks. Like, Emma should be hated for butting into people's business. Maya, no, definitely not. And of course, the PTSD storyline. Remember, Emma in season 4 had no friends. She lost Manny and Liberty as friends because of her pettiness towards Chris and Liberty being possibly together. And Emma deserved it. So she decides to join Paige's friend group as a way to gain friends, be a cause girl, as she always was, and stick it to Radish, because let's not forget, Radish said in Mercy Street, stay out of this is not one of your stupid crusades. Are you fucking nuts, Radish? And that, of course, makes me figure Radish still has a grudge against Emma with the whole fight for your right thing. I'll talk about that when I do my Radish video. But the fact of the matter, guys, is this. Emma then learns about the bullying over the Orange Ribbon campaign. She figured it would be a good thing for people of domestic violence, but it goes too far. They buy the ribbons, but they don't want to deal with the domestic violence thing to help someone. They just want to beat up Rick for what he did to Terry. And Rick being back at the school was going to cause a red flag to the students, and Raj stupidly decided not to. Although some people said Raj had no choice. The school board told him to. It's possible. But Raj could have easily said, Rick, go to another school. But Rick was a macho camacho. Regardless of that, Rick gets bullied and then gets hurt by people outside the dot. Emma steps in to save it. And then Emma's crusade is over and she's basically persona non grata. All she does is hang around with the Quiz Bowl team of Rick, Toby, and Heather Sinclair before Jimmy replaces Heather because of Heather's motto, which someone said was because of Craig. Really? Really? No. Why would Craig be with Heather Sinclair? But anyhow, Emma is on a lonely island. Rick has the easy route to go with Emma and then, does the creepy stuff to her in Time Stand Still Part 1 in the quiz competition, holding her hands, whispering, this is for you, and all that. And then when Rick gets painted and feathered, Emma tries to calm him down, and then Rick, kisses Emma, and Emma says, what are you doing? I thought you loved me. I pitied you, get a clue. And then Rick decides to go after Emma. Now, let's not forget, Rick could have gone after Emma first before Paige, but he didn't. I'll talk about that when I talk about Rick and Paige situation. And, I'll talk about that when I talk about that. But as is, Emma gets targeted. Sean saves Emma's life. Emma falls for Sean, even though Sean's with Ellie, and is upset when Sean leaves it's not going to deal with his PTSD. And then Emma seems to be okay for the few episodes after the shooting, but then Secret comes out and she's not. She's withdrawn, she's doing badly at school, she won't even be with friends or all that. And Spike and Snake I'm not sure what to do with Emma. Emma then develops a penchant for being with Jay and giving him blowjobs and got gonorrhea possibly. And, she's shunned by the school in a sense, and then she kind of admits her faults and realizes what she's doing is wrong. So, yeah. And then people are like, well, did Emma go to therapy to do with the season 4 thing? No. There was a line in season 6, Rock This Town, when JT got stabbed, that Emma says, my therapist said that, I got to let loose. But that was because of Emma's eating disorder, the therapy. But she never got it after the Rick situation. It was a missed storyline that Emma's PTSD and impulsive actions were the cause of the Rick situation. You could see it. The audience can see it. The characters didn't. And, maybe Emma still had the problems with the PTSD from the Rick situation, and maybe that's why she becomes a clean friend or a clean girlfriend. And, of course, those videos will be coming soon with the series. But the simple fact is that this was a storyline that Degrassi could have played on with PTSD and all that, especially Toby though too. But I figured the only reason why Maya's storyline happened during multiple seasons was that the Degrassi writers decided to keep the story going instead of ending the story and ending Emma's PTSD thing by season 4, and not directly relating Emma's problems post season 4 with the whole Rick situation. I mean, it's a mea culpa. I did an unpopular opinion on it. I think the writers figured they might as well add on to the story. And even though that Maya was fine for a few seasons, she wasn't. Well, by bus crash re-triggered everything. I bet you the JT stabbing re-triggered Emma's PTSD because after all, it happened at a party at Emma's house that should not have been thrown in the first place. And Emma probably felt guilty over JT dying. So yes, that's the whole Maya thing in 33 minutes. It's a big storyline that has to be told, and 3 things I won't back down from. And the simple fact is, Maya had the right to get overprotective in season 14 because of the whole Cam situation, because it reminded her of Cam and she had the nightmares. Sig was a terrible boyfriend to Maya and only wanted to be with Maya when Maya was with someone else, and the Degrassi writers did the Maya storyline as the mea culpa because they didn't help the Emma situation from Time Stand Still. That's all there is to it. That's all I'm going to die the hill for. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do